Welcome aboard Skylark Outdoors here, and today we've got something very special for you, the Beneteau Flyer 9 Spacedeck. Now stick around because this boat has some incredible features that I didn't even know about until I walked through it. So as you enter in the aft here, you've got this bench. This actually folds up or down to give you more space or a clean rear area. And then you've got this table which is removable, or you can push it all the way up or down. And you actually have another seat right there, so you can sit at the table with 2 or 4 people, and then we've got this bench here. Now you may think this is just a head. This is actually a head and 2 berths in this boat, which is a 29-foot 10-inch boat. And you can see they've got a speaker on there, but the head is actually decent size. You could stand up in there. You can take a shower in there. It is a full head. That nozzle from the sink actually pulls out and you can take a shower. Here at the helm, we've got a joystick control. You've got Mercury controls there, so a Garmin, GPS, depth finder, all that. And you also have your controls for everything else on the boat right there, so really nice and clean. Now, we've got a T-top on this one, but you can get this actually with just a canvas canopy. However, I like the T-top on this, makes it feel more solid, gives you some more shade, but then you have a higher height when you're trailing this down the road. Up here, we've got a little bit of a canvas top for additional shade that you can put up. And you've got a bench. You could probably fit 2 to 3 people. Our windlass up there. And then we've got another bench. You could fit probably 2, 3 people maybe there as well. So there is a lot of seating on this boat. And it's actually laid out like a center console, but it has 2 berths inside of it. So there's a forward berth and then an aft berth. So you could essentially sleep up to 4 people on this boat. Now there's not much of a galley on this. However, you could just drive this boat wherever you want to go, get dinner on the water, or have something that takes less prep, and you would be perfectly fine. Now, right here, what I'm looking at also is this is a side access, so you can fold that down, and that's actually another swim platform, and or you could use that for docking as well. So it's a really neat feature in terms of the layout of this boat, to be able to have a good time on the water and really enjoy what you're doing. And you can see the swim platform here. They've kind of got the platform extended on each side, which is going to make it really easy when you are aft into a dock to get on this boat, or you can come in from the side if you are on a side dock as well. So I think this is really incredible for a couple of reasons. We're going to go through the specs. It's 29 feet 10 inches. It's got a 9-foot 10 beam, and it is 7,392 pounds, and it has a 500 horsepower max rating, and then a 152-gallon fuel tank capacity. But what amazes me most is that in this size boat, you have all the features of a center console boat, essentially. You could easily fish off this. You could water ski off the back of this. You could tube off the back of this wakeboard. You can see it's even set up right there. It's got that sport mount so that you can tow something no problem with this boat. Now, it doesn't have a whole bunch of rod holders, no, but you can absolutely add that. But this is laid out just like you would see a center console fishing boat. However, you have the amenities of it being really comfortable to sit around and have people on, and you have the capacity for seating to have people to be comfortable while they're on here. You can see this rear seat, you'd probably fit 2 to 3 people, but you could fold it down when you want to go into fishing mode. And then you've got that table there, as well as the other fold seat and a couple of cup holders. Plenty of speakers on this. So this is kind of a do-it-all boat, because if you were to go to most center consoles this size, they do not have a berth or a double berth in this. So once you go somewhere on this, let's say you're going on a fishing trip, you would typically need to rent a hotel or something like that for the night. But with this, you could absolutely sleep on this boat overnight. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tight, but if it's just 2 people, I don't think you're going to have any problem. 4 people, it's going to be pretty tight because you've got that rear berth. We didn't show you it, but you can definitely fit 2 people in there. But 2 children would be easier to fit than 2 full-size adults. But that's just a lot of people in a small confined space. But I am still impressed that this boat, which is essentially a center console, has the room for 2 berths and a full head in it. And then it has just a great layout overall in terms of being able to hang out and enjoy a day on the water, enjoy water sports. I love that side access that allows you to have more of a swim platform that you can step on and off of and get in and out of the boat. And I do like this option with the T-top. If I were purchasing this, I would get the hard top most likely, unless I needed to store it somewhere where I needed a lower height. And then I would go with the canvas top over the helm. But I really like how that looks with the T-top over the top. Just permanent shade, stability, and also, if you were going to use it as a fishing platform, going to give you something to mount rod holders and more structure too. So, how do they achieve this? Well, it has a deeper hull than most other boats this size or shape, and then the gunnels on the boat are much higher as well. So, you have a boat that sits higher out of the water. You're going to feel like you have a nice, really high and dry ride, and it's maybe a little bit heavier than a boat this size, and it's maybe a little bit wider with the 10-foot, 9-foot 10 beam. However, it's just a really interesting boat to me. Now, most people know Beneteau for their sailboats. Been on a lot of Beneteau sailboats, love them. They always look beautiful, clean lines, good sailing boats. A great boat that is something that you can, when you speaking of sailboats, something that you can enjoy as a day sailor, but you can also enjoy taking extended trips on a Beneteau sailboat. And I've just always liked how they look. I've liked the accoutrements that they have to them. I've liked the quality of them. Anyone that I know that has had a Beneteau sailboat or one that I've been on has only great things for the most part to say about them. All boats are going to have their issues, but most people tend to love them in terms of just the quality, reputation, layout, all that stuff. And I kind of agree with them here. So it's interesting to see that they have this model, which is a power boat, and I think they're starting to hit some home runs out of the park on these power boats, just in terms of the layout, the option, the features. I do think that it is really nice that you have a boat that you could fish off of, that you could water ski off of, and you could tube, you could just go out for a swim with the family, take a tour, take a boating tour, and you're going to be nice and dry on this particular boat. And then, if you wanted to stay overnight on it, you absolutely could for a night or two. And unless you're somebody that's touring around and you plan to stay on a boat every night, I find that 1 or 2 nights is really a great amount of time to stay on a boat. You can get somewhere fast, stay overnight on your trip, or 2 nights or 3 nights, and then get back and do whatever you're going to do. If you're looking for something that you're going to cruise around in and do like the Great Loop, or you're going to go on extended 2-week trips, you probably would want something else. But what I have found is that most of the time, an extended trip is an entirely different way of living. But a 1 to 2 or 3 or 4 nights on a boat is beautiful. That's just a beautiful way to spend time on a boat. You get to see a whole bunch of stuff. You have a little mini vacation. And before things get to the point where you're like, oh, I didn't pack enough stuff, I don't have enough supplies, or you're having to get more provisions, you just go back home in 2 or 3 days, and it's magical. You don't deal with all the things that you deal with with extended cruising, which in reality, extended cruising is a beautiful thing. It's wonderful, but most people have obligations in terms of jobs, family, life, whatever. And so it's kind of this dream to a lot of people that you think you're going to go extended cruising. And then once you actually do it a couple times, I recommend that you do an extended week or 2 week extended cruising session before you go and buy a boat for extended cruising. Because what you're going to find, it's a completely different way of life. You are on a boat, and that is your home, and you're dealing with all the issues of a house and a boat at the same time. And some of the things that you may not realize are dockage fees, anchorage, where you're going to find a good anchorage. And if the weather is bad, guess what? That is when boats, even larger ones, get really small. So it's great when you can just pick a nice weather window, 2 to 4 days. But when you spend a week in a boat and it rains all the time, or it's heavy storms, you are going to want to be able